I'm Board Game Hobby. I love board games and I love research. And I love researching board games so much that I've managed to spend more than 100 hours researching the more than 1,000 new board games being released for the first time at this year's Essen SPIEL, the world's largest board gaming convention, visited by hundreds of thousands of people. So, there are already a lot of tools out there that will tell you which games to anticipate, what are the hot new games you definitely need to look out for and definitely need to buy. First, you have the SPIEL Essen preview on Board Game Geek, which, when you sort it by thumbs, you can sort of get an idea of what are the hot new games. You have SETI, The White Castle, Civolution, Inferno, Arcs, Endeavor, Deep Sea, Daitoshi, Galactic Cruise, Cities, and Saltfjord. That's the top 10. But those are just the games that receive the most thumbs. You get the most thumbs if you're a big company with a big reach asking for likes, thumbs on your social media. So you're gonna miss a lot of games this way, a lot of great games this way. Then you have the SPIEL 24 Most Wanted Games Tracker. This is a list that you can also find on Board Game Geek. And this shows how many times the games have been added to wish lists by Board Game Geek users. So users are actively saying, I want to play, buy, or look at this game. But you will see a lot of the same names here. You will see SETI again, Galileo Galilei, Civolution again, Arcs again, The White Castle again, Unconscious Mind, Saltfjord again, Endeavor, Deep Sea, and Inferno again, and Black Forest. So, a couple of new games here, but still the same theme repeats itself between the two lists. These are big games by big companies, by usually big designers, a couple of exceptions though, and it makes sense. People are interested in the ones where they know there's a proven track record. But if you're only looking at these games, you're gonna miss a lot of hidden gems. You're gonna miss a lot of niche games, weird indie games from one-man companies in Brazil or Asia or whatever. And that's what I'm here to fix. If you don't have the time to do this research, because of course you know best what games you are interested in, then luckily I've had the time somehow. So these are games, some of them are hotly anticipated by many, but a lot of them aren't. They're unknown, they're gone under the radar. So let's see which games I'm the most excited by. Let me know if you agree. So coming in at number 10 is Magic Number 11, which is quite funny. So Magic Number 11 is a soccer-themed two-player only game designed by Bongwan Ju, a Korean designer, published by Pluto Games. This is a hand management game in which you're playing down cards, which of course occupy the various positions like striker, playmaker, and such, and you're creating these patterns which are used for like drawing more cards or creating these soccer balls which increase your chances of scoring goals, which is of course the objective of the game, just score the most goals possible. You have all these like thematic integrations like substitutions. You have these star players, which is cards with more potent abilities. You even have penalty kicks, which is pure luck and random like in real life. So it's imitating that you can go right or you can go left or whatever. And yeah, seems very thematic, seems super beautiful, good components here. I am very much looking forward to checking this one out. In fact, I have pre-ordered it. I recommend you give it a look as well. Looks pretty good if you ask me. Cardboard East has done a very good video on this if you want to check it out and see it in sort of action on the table. Alright, next up at number 9 you have Compile. So Compile Main 1 is designed by Michael Yang, a first-time designer and published by Greater Than Games. This is another two-player game. They're not all two-player games, I promise, but this is another two-player game, which is a card-based game, sort of a lane battler card dueling game, where you're mixing together decks of cards. And the theme here is AI, artificial intelligence, and these AI are like testing different emotions. You have this player, for example, playing Psychic, Darkness, and Fire, like putting these elements together, and the AI is sort of trying to understand these elements, and you're basically trying to get these three lines to 10 points, 10 value each. And you're just playing these cards for various effects, manipulating your line, trying to thwart the opponent player. That's about what I know of the game. It also has an expansion which adds more decks. I think there's like 12 different elements in the main game. Again, you're mixing together 3 of these, so a lot of variability, a lot of combos you can try out. This has apparently already gotten 122 ratings, and I looked through these ratings. They look legit. Like when I open up all these users here, there are users that have already rated it and own a lot of games. So these aren't dummy accounts. This game is getting rave reviews from the Board Game Geek users. This is a game that hasn't gotten a lot of buzz, so I don't think you need to run for this, but it's definitely one that I'm going to be buying. Next up, Babylon, released by Geek Attitude Games and designed by Olivier Grégoire. Sorry if I butchered the name. Not a very well-known designer. He has designed Tiwanaku, which I believe came out last year, which is a pretty good like deduction type of game. This is more so a spatial puzzle type of game. Oh, well, you can see the picture right here. I don't know how to explain it. This is a game, as you can see, with beautiful, amazing table presence. And I'm going to be trying to buy it for that reason alone. I say try because supposedly they're only selling 50 copies of this per day. So let's see if I get lucky. This is supposedly a very family-friendly, beginner, gateway-ish type of game, but with some optimization stuff that will also allow it to shine among gamers as well, I believe is what they're saying. I'm buying this one just for the look alone. This is like the bottom of the box, which holds all the supply that you're drawing these building elements from. And you're just building into this, I believe, shared grid and scoring points for how you're putting things down, I would guess. At number 7, we have, well, one of the popular games, one of the games that featured on the list that I showed you earlier. This is Saltfjord, published by Aportic Games and designed by Christian Østby and Eilif Svensson, a couple of Norwegian designers, Scandinavians represent. This is a re-implementation of Santa Maria, another popular Euro game, which I love. It's one of my favoritist games, and it's also one of the favorite games of my wife. This is a dice drafting game. That's like the main mechanism, or at least that's the main mechanism that I'm excited about being re-implemented here. This is not a straight reprint, it's not that they just put on this new theme and look. So here we have a player board, and the main draw of this game for me, and the thing that they're re-implementing here, is that you have 2 different colored dice. You have the white dice, and then I'm not sure what color they're using in this version of the game. It's blue in the original one, but so the white dice, they move down the rows. They move straight down vertically. Then you have the blue dice that move horizontally. They move to the sides. And as these dice are moving through these tiles with icons on them, you're activating these icons, which are actions, different actions. They might be resources, or they might be ways of you to use those resources. And it's just this puzzly, nice feel, and you have like this tension surrounding drafting the dice that you want, but there are also other actions to take on your turn. I've always thought it should be used in more games, so finally they're using it in this game, which I believe looks very gorgeous. I know it's gotten mixed reviews based on its look somehow, but I think it looks awesome. So I'm excited to see this mechanism used in an updated game with, I believe, sort of new mechanics that maybe make for a better package, and with this great, awesome look. So this is one that I'm gonna be getting. Coming in at number 6, we have Canopy Evergreen. So this is another not completely unknown game, because this is the sequel to a first game called Canopy, which was also designed by Tim Eisner, also published by Weird City Games, and also illustrated by Vincent Dutrait. As you can see here, he does beautiful work. I'm always here for it. This theme, I love it. It makes it easier to get to the table with my wife and my friends. This is a game in which, let me try to get a picture here, where you're trying to collect these cards, sort of set collection, trying to score points by making different combinations, and some cards, at least in the first one, will also earn you abilities. The first one was sort of mainly a 2-player game. You could play it more. I believe this one is more geared towards accommodating more players in a good way. I'm not sure, don't take my word for it, but I believe so. This is a game that employs the Winston drafting method, which is like, I believe right here, you have 3 piles of cards, they're face down, and on your turn, you look at the first pile and you see, do I want to take this pile? Or do I want to push my luck and put it back down, add a new card to it, which makes that pile juicier for the next person who looks at it, and then I move on to the next pile, hoping there's some good stuff there. I love that push your luck element to it, that mystery of, oh, I'm too curious, I want to look at the next pile. Even though there's maybe fewer cards, but also some cards are bad to get right. So at least in the first one. This is a game that I'm very excited about. I think you should be too. All right, my number 5 game is Video Game Champion. This is a game that was originally released in Brazil by Calamity Games, Maldito Games, and then brought to the States and now finally Europe by Arcane Wonders. It got great reviews at the Dice Tower. Everyone's been raving at it since Gen Con. This is a game where, let me just read the tagline here, transport yourself to the early 90s to the 16-bit video game champion. So it's a very nostalgic video game feely kind of game where you're like racing for like sort of set collection, I believe, trying to complete cards by selecting certain types of other cards or components. As I recall, it has this very cool action selection system, like an action grid, as you can see here, where you pick one of these tiles in the middle and then you activate one of the columns or rows here with different actions. And you're just doing these actions to optimize, to try to earn stars, points, completing patterns, objectives, things of that sort. Already bought it, already ordered, just have to pick it up and not worry about standing in line. I hope you get a copy as well if you're interested in this. Number 4, Altay Dawn of Civilization. This is published by Ares and designed by a duo that haven't ever designed a game before together. This is Paulo Mori, who did like Libertalia, Blitzkrieg, Dogs of War, lots of awesome games, and Ole Steinitz, who designed Champions of Midgard. So quite well-renowned designers who couple up to make a game about sort of civilization, kingdom building. So this is deck building mixed with like expanding your kingdom, maybe area majority type stuff. And that's all I need to know. Also, I love the artwork. I love the wooden components. As you can see here, there is a deluxe version with like plastic components, I believe. But I don't want that. I just want the wooden components. They look quite nice. And yeah, again, I'm quite into the artwork. I love the theme of civilization, building, fighting. This is one that, again, like the previous one, I've actually already paid for this one. Very much looking forward to picking up and playing it. This is The Fog Escape from Paradise, my number 3rd most anticipated game. This is one that you probably haven't heard about. This is by Solax Games, designed by Robert Mueller-Reinwarth, who I haven't heard of before. This is an enthralling and immersive race for survival. Can you save your islanders? So this is a game in which you're trying to get your islanders from the island to the boats, to safety, and I think also maybe grab the best spots. In either case, on your turn, you're using, I believe, action points to move your islanders in different ways, and I believe they also themselves might have restrictions or powers, but you're basically swapping, pushing, doing all that nasty stuff to try to make sure you're the one who gets off the island. It looks very good. Not sure about this cover. That's not maybe my taste. It looks a bit garish, I believe. This is a game that I'm very excited to check out. My second most anticipated game is Agent Avenue, published by NerdLab Games and designed by Christian Kudal and Laura Kudal, a wife and husband design team. This is their first game together, but Christian Kudal you might already know if you're a fan of Mindbug. Agent Avenue is a 2-player game with an I split you choose mechanic where I'm playing a card face up and a card face down, and you're choosing which one you would like to take. And as you can see here, these cards have different points that I think advance you on tracks, and they have different abilities. And basically, you're trying to find out the other person's secret identity is the theme here. As you can see, you're like these anthropomorphic animals in a suburban neighborhood. I just love the setting here. I love the vibe. I love I Split You Choose. It's a very underutilized mechanism, if you ask me. So based on the pedigree of the designer and the publisher and the theme here, I'm very much looking forward to this. And also, this is a Danish design team, so that makes me even more excited. So, we finally made it to the end of the list. My most anticipated game is Tir Na Nok by Isaac Shalev and Jason Slingerland, published by Grand Gamers Guild. I just want to say up front, if you're trying to get this game, you need to run there ASAP. They're bringing 47 copies. I repeat, 47 copies. This is a game for 1 to 5 players. It's based on Irish myth, like Celtic myth. So that alone brings me in. The beautiful artwork brings me in. And this is a game in which you're drafting cards, playing them down to your tableau, and these cards have special abilities, and for each row you're trying to fulfill certain criteria. And so it seems very puzzly, it seems very interesting with the drafting, and you're just trying to maximize score points. So it seems like this very chill game of you're doing your own thing, but mixed with the puzzly aspect and the beautiful artwork. And especially with this theme that isn't utilized very much in games, the Celtic Irish myth theme, I'm very much looking forward to this one. It just looks very, very beautiful, and from what I believe, it so far has gotten pretty good reviews. So that is my most anticipated game for Essen 24. I'm very curious to hear whether you agree with the picks, whether you have any games that you feel like I should be checking out. But anyways, that was it for me this time. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff if you feel like doing it. And in any case, I hope I'll see you on the next one. Bye.